There's a lot riding on the upcoming Game of Thrones prequel, House of the Dragon. After the original show's controversial ending, some people thought that dreams of a franchise were pretty much over. But given how big it was, that was never going to happen. So far, everything from the upcoming show has looked pretty promising, and in today's video, we're going to talk about how House of the Dragons earned fans' praises in the first looks. First off, fans and critics are full of praise. The upcoming prequel is based on George R.R. Martin's 2018 novel Fire and Blood, and it will be set approximately 200 years before the events of the parent show. We'll see how the mighty House Targaryen came to fall by fighting among themselves during the civil war known as the Dance of the Dragons. Okay, but why didn't they call the show that? That would have honestly been so much better. But hey, even Game of Thrones should have been called A Song of Ice and Fire, so maybe they're just not that good at names. Anyhow, while the series isn't going to premiere on HBO Max until August 21st, the first episode has already been screened for some members of the press, and judging by their reactions, this show is going to be a smash hit. Stephen Weintraub, an editor at Collider, tweeted that while he didn't like the last season of Game of Thrones, the premiere is really well done, and he's definitely going to continue watching. Christina Radish, a senior reporter at the same site, added that it feels epic in scale and scope, while telling a personal and intimate story about one family, showcasing both their love and dysfunction. And if you ask us, that sounds absolutely incredible, because it doesn't matter how much CGI or battle scenes you give us, if there isn't an emotional core beneath it all, it just doesn't resonate with the audience, and at the end of the day, that's all that matters. The show can give us all the dragon fights at once. If we don't care about the characters, we won't care about the consequences of these battles. Plus, all the photos and promo for the show have looked really exciting. Fans of the book are over the moon about the casting choices, and they're super thrilled to see some of their favorite characters come to life. One Twitter user claimed that Princess Rhaenyra and Prince Daemon look exactly how they imagined them to be. Another one said that Olivia Cooke was the perfect actor for Alicent Hightower, and he hopes that she gets enough screen time. Next up is the best series ever made. The general consensus about the premiere was that the show has a lot of potential. They seem to have learned from the mistakes of the parent show, and are going to give the fans what they want. IndieWire film journalist at The Tom Chode was especially thrilled by the episode and described it as being even better than Game of Thrones and Breaking Bad. He said that HBO has done it again, and it isn't just another fantasy show, it's the best series ever made. Okay, we don't know how you can make that claim after just one episode, but if you say so. It really doesn't matter how good the pilot is, you can't call it the greatest show of all time after that. You just can't. And thankfully, the episode was well lit. What's more, the Rap's Brandon Katz said that the pilot very efficiently explains its context in relation to Thrones, introduces the core characters, and lays out the conflict of the series. Also, if like us, you were also bothered by how dark the last few seasons of Thrones were, we have some good news for you. According to Brandon, it's an easy-to-follow premiere with vibrant colors and detailed texture. Fans of the books and the parent show were obviously very pleased by the original reactions, and the wait for 21st August has now become even more difficult. Twitter user at Cranfairy said that it's not fair that critics are allowed to watch stuff earlier, because it just makes the rest of us feel left out. He added that he hated the last 3 seasons of Thrones, and he really hopes this is actually better, because he cannot be let down again. Another fan said that she really hopes all these critics are right, because she's a huge fan of Fire and Blood, and she just wants the series to do the book justice. So in short, things are looking really good for House of the Dragon, and if you ask us, we believe that it being better than Game of Thrones is a very real possibility. Wait, what? Okay, hear us out. We know Game of Thrones was a global phenomenon, and it achieved something no other show has ever been able to do. All of us were watching the same thing at the same time, and all of us were incredibly into it. Every time an episode came out, we all watched it together, as if we were all part of one big universal Netflix party. And for the first few seasons, it was actually very good. While most people seem to believe that the show took a dip during the final season, we don't agree with that at all. Ever since the 4th season, when they moved past the events of the books, D&D were kind of clueless. They didn't really know how to tell the story they were attempting to tell, and this resulted in one giant mess. Yeah, we know, there were some really iconic moments from season 5 to season 7 as well, but in our opinion, those were too few and far in between. Plus, the big moments and deaths didn't really hold much weight because there was no proper build-up. Things just happened without making sense, and the creators thought the fans would just go along with it, and for a while they did, hoping against all hope that everything would come together at the end and we'd be given an amazing payoff. But now we know that that's not what happened at all. They butchered one of the biggest shows of all time, and it went out with the most resounding whimper in TV history. And we believe that the House of the Dragon will actually be better because the story is already complete. It's only based on one book, and the writers can plan everything out in advance. In fact, we're sure they already have. Plus, George R.R. Martin has confirmed that he'll be more involved in this series, and if you ask us, that's a very good omen. Also, in case you didn't didn't know, D&D aren't involved this time around. The showrunners are Michael Sapochnik and Ryan Condal, both of whom are massive fans of this world, and we're sure they'll give us an incredible experience. And next, the show will be more focused. Another problem with GOT was how it was attempting to do too much at the same time. We'd cut from King's Landing to the Wall to Winterfell to wherever Daenerys was, and it was just all over the place. Because there were so many characters and families to deal with, they could never just properly focus on one. Luckily, that won't be the case this time around. The main focus will solely be on the Targaryens, and while we will occasionally see the Starks or the Lannisters, they'll just be side characters. Remember how frustrated fans were because of Jaime not getting screen time? Yeah, that's not going to be the case this time around. All our main characters are going to be in the same place. In our opinion, it's going to result in a more tightly knit drama. So buckle up, folks. Get ready for scheming, romance, heartbreak, and of course, dragons. Here's hoping we're right and the show tackles everything tastefully. Also, did you know this Sapochnik has said we'll see 9 of those fire-breathing monsters in the very first season? Yeah, we really can't wait. And finally, there's one thing that won't be too different. Yes, folks, if there's one thing HBO shows will almost definitely give you, it's loads and loads of sex scenes. This is especially true when it comes to Game of Thrones, and it really looks like the prequel is not going to be different in this aspect. Matt Smith, the awesome actor who's playing Daemon, recently told Rolling Stones that at one point he asked the writers if they really needed another sex scene, and they were like, yeah, we do. He expressed that it's their job to represent the books truthfully and honestly, just as they were written. When Matt was asked if he was involved in some of the sex scenes, he hilariously replied by saying, yeah, slightly too much if you ask me. The good thing is that, unlike the parent show, House of the Dragon won't include graphic depictions of sexual violence. You may remember the backlash the original show got for this, most notably because of a wholly unnecessary scene where Sansa Stark was abused on her wedding night. Writer and executive producer Sarah Hess recently told Vanity Fair that they will not depict sexual violence in this show. Only one instance will be handled, and even that will be off screen. All will be shown is the aftermath and impact on the victim and the mother of the perpetrator. Honestly, it really feels like this show is hell-bent on rectifying the sins of the father. And that's a wrap for this video. Are you excited for House of the Dragon? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.